Unity of Houston is an inclusive church where we seek to understand and live the teachings of Jesus and other spiritual masters. At Unity, we welcome all people from all spiritual paths and every walk of life. We celebrate the diversity of our city and of our world, and we teach love, tolerance, and oneness, seeking to live in harmony with open minds and open hearts.
Wherever you are in your spiritual path, you are always welcome at Unity. Join us and discover that the life of your dreams is already within you.
I've missed you. You know, I took Thanksgiving weekend Sunday off, but I was going to be back for the rehearsal for the concert, and then I was sick. I had COVID, but then I tested negative, and then I was able to do the concert, but I think I wasn't quite ready. Those negative tests maybe weren't quite so negative, and then I had a relapse, and I've been really ill this week, and so I'm really grateful. But I have to tell you, last Sunday morning when I woke up not feeling great and did another test and was positive, I was like, oh no, it's Sunday. How is this going to work? I had already given Reverend Shirley and Stacy a heads up that I might not be able to, but on Saturday I said, I'm fine, I got this. And then I had to text them, please, 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 can you do this Sunday service? So I don't know if you saw last Sunday's service, but Reverend Shirley Knight did an amazing talk. Thank you, Reverend Shirley. And that was with about 2 hours notice, just so you know. And Stacy Collins, who is, where is Stacy? She's probably working somewhere. She does so many things for us. She is a third-year ministerial student. She led the Blue Christmas ceremony, just beautiful. Let's give Stacy some love, too. So powerful. But I have to tell you, sometimes God is really funny. Like, I don't know if you can feel my little attitude with that. Sometimes Joanne, you know what I'm talking about. Sometimes we put something out there like, oh, yeah, that'll be good, and it comes back, but not the way you want it. I've been aware for a while that our culture, particularly in the West, particularly in the United States of America, we push. We are drivers. They say that in other European countries, they live to work, but in America, we know. They say they work to live. Here, we live to work. See, I can't even say it right. That we tend to push all the time. And so I knew that I wanted to give a message today that would be an antidote, a spiritually principled antidote to this idea that you got to push all the time. And so I called today's message, A Time to Turn Within. And then I got sick for 2 weeks. God is funny. That's not the way I wanted this to go. I'm important. I have things to do. They can't do a Sunday at Unity without me. Evidently, they can. You know, I've been working, since I became senior minister over 5 years ago, it's this old belief gets caught in my consciousness that it's all on my shoulders. I've got to have all the answers. And time and again, Spirit is just like, let go, Michael. Let me show up through the whole community. And so our staff, we've got depth on this team. I mean, incredible. And so guess what I got to do? I got to turn within. What else could I do? Except stay home. Got some groceries. And for the 37 of you who offered to bring me homemade chicken soup, thank you very much. But I had nothing else to do but cook chicken soup. So thank goodness grocery stores deliver now. And I made some really good chicken soup. So next time somebody is sick, I'll be offering it to you. But it's a season. And so I don't know how people, and you know, everything we're talking about, I love the winter solstice that you're creating for us, David, and right, but we have to think that's just the northern hemisphere, but at this time of year, there is a winter solstice in the southern hemisphere, but it's in the summer for us. You know that, right? And it is funny, though, because all these winter songs we sing for our Christmas holiday, they still sing them like in Australia. While they're on the beach at 100 degrees, they're singing, let it snow, let it snow, let it snow. We are funny people. But there is a season, and in Houston, sometimes winter, spring, summer, and fall all happen in the same day. I remember my first winter here, I was walking in my neighborhood. I was living over around Meyerland at the time, and I saw a beautiful, I think it was a Chinese chestnut that was just aflame with orange color in early December. And then the azaleas were blooming on the same block, like it was March. There were, I think it was a sycamore tree that still had its bright green leaves from the summer. And then there were a couple of trees that were just bare, all on the same block in the same moment, all 4 seasons. And yet, there is something about, I think it's really rooted in our biology and in our ancient, even pre-verbal history and collective memory, that in the winter, when the days grow short, something is asking for us to shift our focus and awareness, to go to a season of quiet, a season of introspection and reflection. And yet we don't usually do that in America. I usually don't do that. So thank you, COVID, for giving me something to talk about today, and for reminding me that to everything there is a season. And I want to say, too, that the seasons, not only are there 4 of them in a year in most places, but we can experience this, not necessarily tied to the calendar. There are also larger seasons, like when we move into a new phase of life. Carl Jung talked about the second half of life. It's not necessarily chronological, but he says in the first half of life we build the container, and in the second half of life we inhabit it. And we often explore the other parts of our psyche that we haven't gotten to yet. So I found this online. I thought it was very insightful. And it applies to the season that I'm now in. Welcome to middle age, where your mind is telling you no, but your body is also telling you no. This comes from the Hebrew Scriptures, Ecclesiastes. And I think Jean Marie just used this passage a couple of weeks ago in her wonderful talk that she gave Thanksgiving weekend, but it's worth hearing again. From chapter 3, there's a time for everything, and a season for every activity under the heavens, a time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to uproot, a time to kill and a time to heal, a time to tear down and a time to build, a time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. This is where we get to hold this cosmic dance. We get to exercise our capacity for genius to hold 2 completely opposite ideas in the same mind at the same time as truth. You and I, we are birthless, deathless, changeless, eternal expressions of infinite power. That's what we are. That is the truth. Rock solid. That is the most true thing about you, is that you are one with infinite power, infinite love, one with God. That we're all part of this infinite life. And that is the doctrine, that is the theology upon which we build all of our practices and our tools of spiritual living here. It's incredibly powerful. That is true. You are powerful and limitless. You can do anything. Got that in your mind? Let's throw something else in there. You're human. And you definitely had a birth. And you definitely will have a death. And you definitely will experience the full spectrum of human experience, including illness, including loss of those we love in the form, including struggle, including sadness, depression, disappointment, frustration. And here's the thing, when we place so much of our emphasis on the spiritual truth, what can happen is that we think, well, if I'm having this human experience, I must be doing it wrong. Is that just me? I don't know. Can anybody else have that experience? Matter of fact, we used to call it metaphysical malpractice when someone would come and they're like, well, I've been sick. And they'd go, well, what's in your consciousness to cause that? We don't do that anymore. That what we do is that we apply the law of consciousness, the law of cause and effect, the law of mind action. We apply it to ourselves, and it's fair for us to ask our own questions about, there's a pattern here. It's my thinking playing a part. So we apply the law here, but to each other we only apply love. we never judge anyone else's experience, ever. We just love. But you are both human and divine, fully, at the same moment, right here, right now. And how do we navigate a human lifetime with all of that texture that I just mentioned? How do we do that and stay grounded in the truth of who we are? This is what we're about. This is what this teaching offers us, practices and tools so that we can begin to see. Ernest Holmes once said, humanity is divinity made visible. The first key there is to stop making your humanity wrong. We don't discard or push our human experience away. We find the capacity, as I mentioned, that capacity for genius to hold it, to integrate it. And when we're willing to do that, here's the thing. Spiritual truth and insight and transformation will occur in the middle of getting COVID, or in the middle of a divorce, or in the middle of losing your beloved mother. God is here too. And there is an opportunity, there's an invitation, there is a beckoning of life itself to say, come into this human experience and find me. I am here. Life, full, rich, abundant, is here in this moment too. And we do this together. In a little bit, we're going to welcome look how beautiful our new members are. Aren't they gorgeous? You see them? I mean, really. I don't know if we had some kind of a good-looking test to see if they were good, but really, what a beautiful group. In a moment, we're going to be welcoming them into our community officially. But last week, I love that Blue Christmas ceremony where people had the opportunity to be witnessed by their spiritual community in their divine humanity. It was powerful. And for those who were courageous to step up here and be seen and witnessed as someone who is going through a difficult time this Christmas season, you help us all. And that is the invitation. There are gifts in each season of life. I want to go back to a moment to the 4 seasons. The gift of springtime is newness, creating newness. Oh, it's my favorite. We could really have spring 4 times a year, and I would be so happy. I love the newness and beginnings. It's just so full of energy and possibility before you get bogged down in the details. You know what I mean? It's just great. There's just so much excitement about beginnings. I love spring. Summer is the season of fullness in life, where we're in the middle and things are moving with, everything is like supported and sourced by divine energy. And what I'm saying right now is that maybe you're in a spring of your life, maybe you're in a summer. Autumn is about harvest, where all the work that we've done in our life, we're beginning to reap the rewards and the benefits of our experience and our expression. So far, so good, right? But then comes winter. It's a tough one for many of us. When from the surface it appears that everything has died. Nothing new happening in the life. No harvest, no fullness. There is a sense of emptiness. It's hard. Thomas More, in his book, Care of the Soul, he likens it to Saturn, the god Saturn, and to a time of falling away, a time of depression even. And he says that if we can move into that space of that cool, clean energy of nothingness, we are renewed. Now, I'm not talking about depression that needs to be seen to with a doctor. If there's a clinical and ongoing thing, that may very well be physical, and that needs to be attended to. But I'm talking about sort of the natural cycles. And some of us push this one away so much. And when I was in my house day after day after day, I had time to really reflect and ask deeper questions. Do you know the deepest question that I forget to ask again and again and again? What do I want? What do I want? Sometimes we're so busy in the solving of the problems and the figuring it out that we don't even know what we're figuring it out for. Like, what are we doing? We're doing. But if you have a little space, if you have a winter in your life, you can ask important questions. What do I love? The kids had all the answers this morning, didn't they? They know what's important. Chips Ahoy. And family. What do you love? And then if we think into the next season, what would we love? So often, you've heard this phrase, ready, aim, fire. No, the other way, how's it go? Ready, fire, aim. Yeah, that's the thing, where it's like, I'm ready, here I go. But I haven't quite aimed yet. I've done that a lot in my life. That spring creative energy just gets me going to, like, I launch when I haven't spent enough time in the quiet spaciousness to ask the important questions. What do I want? What do I love? And what would I love to experience in my life? Back to the trees. I'm looking outside, and almost all of our oak, not the live oaks, but the red oaks that drop their leaves, they'll be bare right out there, but you see they're still green. In a few weeks, they will drop. And in that time, the tree, what it does, particularly these deciduous trees that are bare in the winter, all of the sap that's up out in those branches comes back into the roots. And the root, this is called the dormant period, but the roots are strengthening, drawing sustenance from the soil. But it's a very inner experience. And on the surface, it looks like there ain't nothing going on. There's a beautiful lyric by Alan and Marilyn Bergman. I wasn't planning on sharing it, so I hope I get it. But I don't remember the name of the song, but the lyric is, the branches that are bare, they know it's just a time of year. And I was in a really lonely period of my life. I just left my church in my home in Dallas, where I'd been there for 20 years and done incredible work and healing. And I'd taken a position at a church in Nevada, and I was new in town. It was wintry. I mean, winter. I had to shovel snow like multiple times in a day. I lived in Texas for too long. I didn't know what that was about. But I remember sitting in that house and just not having my connections to my people, my events that I usually go to, and sitting on that couch and just looking outside. There was a weeping birch tree right outside that was bare, bare, bare. And listening to that song. And it gave me hope, but it also gave me permission to feel my sadness at the bareness of this time in my life. But I also remember this just a time of year. And that tree is not worried. That tree knows there is a process at work. When it looks like nothing is happening on the exterior, big things are happening. And here's the other thing. If you went right from fall to spring in the life of that red oak tree without winter, the tree would not be prepared for spring. Let's switch to apple trees, shall we? Where there is a fruit at the end of the growing cycle, something to give you sustenance in life. If there is not time spent in winter for the roots to come back, to source energy, there would not be as much fruit in the fall. Enough with trees. Let's talk about you. Let's talk about me. If we don't take time to quiet, to look into our heart and ask the important questions, then when we do begin to create the next chapter of our lives, it will not be as fruitful because we will have not gone to the source of our being. So Christmas is funny because it's all about this quiet time of the year, but it is big and bright and colorful and noisy. And I love it. I do. I have a very Zen aesthetic. I like very minimal, just just clean lines and good architecture. I love all that. So I'm not a frou-frou guy. I don't like a lot of decorations except at Christmas. I just love the little gratitude links we have up here. And next week, the poinsettias come. Christmas Eve, the candles come. I love it. But don't be so distracted by the decorations and the lights that you don't take this opportunity during this sacred time of year to go within. Just take a day. Take a weekend. Well, come to church, but I mean, take a weekend and be quiet in your space and ask those simple questions. And maybe you have different big questions in your life, but those are good ones for me to start with. What do I want? What do I love? And what would I love to experience next? And then sometimes the answers may not be clear or immediate. And then we have to practice patience. Oh, that is one of the gifts of getting middle-aged. Patience is easier now. Isn't it funny? The less time I had ahead of me, like I really get that. You know, I'm 56. I'm very unlikely that I have more years ahead than I have behind. Could be. But with less time ahead of me, I have more patience. And it's going by faster, and I'm just less hurried by it. And it's a good thing. And you young people, and we have quite a few young members who are joining SA too, I don't know why, but you all need patience even more than we do. To give yourself time and space before you launch. It makes a big difference. The last thing I want to tell you today is that whatever season you're in, it is sacred and it is rich. Sometimes in winter we do have to be, when we stop getting so busy, we can be aware that what really is going on. We talk so much about getting present, getting in the now moment. What happens if your now moment sucks? Have you ever had that experience? Thank you, David. Yeah, you get present, you stop distracting, you get here, and it's like, oh my God, I'm just filled with grief and disappointment. Yeah. What do you do then? You feel it. You got to feel it to heal it. David White says this: disappointment is a friend of transformation. What we call disappointment may just be the first stage of our emancipation into the next greater pattern of existence. Everything is an invitation to God. Even your grief, even your struggle, even your suffering is an invitation to God. And here's the last thing I want to say about seasons. Do you know this story? You don't know what I'm going to ask. How can you answer that? There's a story of a king who had wanted to know the one thing in life that when he had it, that if he was happy, it would make him sad. And if he were sad, it would make him happy. And he brought all the mages and sages together and asked this question: what is the one thing that when I am in sorrow will bring me joy, and when I'm in joy will bring me sorrow? And they went away and they consulted the ancient texts, and they went within, and they could not find an answer. Weeks went by and months, and finally one hermit came down from the mountains, and he came into the palace. He said, I have the answer. And the king said, come. And the old man, he came up and he handed him a simple ring. And the king said, what is this? I have treasure stores that are full of gold and jewels. Why are you giving me this ring? And the hermit said, read the inscription. And within that simple band of metal, it said this too shall pass. Everything here is temporary. And when you are struggling, and I know some of you are right now, this too shall pass. And if you're on the top of the world, enjoy it for every breath that is there, and know that this too shall pass. I love spiritual community. Gosh, I miss being here. It's a good thing that this is my job, because I love it. I love people. I love seeing the way that we gather. I love seeing how we walk each other through these hard times. As I mentioned, that blue Christmas ceremony last week just moved me watching it online from my house, to see people who are willing to be witnessed as being in a lonely time or struggling with a loss or mental illness, and to feel the love of the community around them. And so you, beloveds, right here, have decided to step into our community. And I want to say, too, about membership. You don't have to be a legal member of our church to be a member of this community. As a matter of fact, Stephanie, have been here since 91, I think she said, and just now becoming a member. But there is something sacred about saying, no, these are my people, this is my place, and I'm stepping into it now. Maestro, would you begin? I invite our new members to now stand. And community, I would like to remind you, or just let you know, that after the service, we have every second Sunday of the month, we have just a little social gathering over in the bookstore building. But it'll be a chance for you to come over and say hi and welcome our new members. So please stick around for a minute and come join us over there. To our new members today, you stand before our community and you say you are ready. You are ready to step into full partnership with us as we reveal God's vision for Unity of Houston. You have committed yourself to be a part of this wonderful journey. You have offered your time, your talent, your financial support to this work. Thank you. I will now ask you to answer these questions with the words, I will. Will you bring yourself to our community with open mind, open hands, and open heart? Will you give of the good that God has given you, knowing that by doing so you place yourself firmly in the stream of divine blessing? When you are troubled by something you see or hear in our church, will you first go within to prayer and self-inquiry? And if not resolved, will you then go to that person directly for open, clear conversation where you remain undefended and responsible? And if more is needed, will you then come to our leadership with your concerns? Thank you. Carl Rogers once said, "What I am is always enough if I am willing to be it openly." Will you let us see you in all of your magnificence and in your struggle? Will you let us love you exactly as you are? You will? Thank you. Community, I would just ask you now to extend your hands and your hearts to these beautiful souls, and I want you just to see and feel all the people in this room and those online too are extending their love to you. And if community, I would ask you now to repeat after me. Thank you. Thank you for bringing your gifts to our community. The light of God shines brightly within you. We see you. We honor you. We love you. And we want to know you. We bless you as you join us on our spiritual journey. Let's celebrate our new members right now. I got a little verklempt. Thank you. You may be seated. Oh, I forgot a very important thing. We didn't tell you who they are. One more time. So members, when I read your name, would you please stand? Hold your applause until the end. Glenora Benjamin. Wait, hold your applause. I know it's going to help. Trust me. R.J. Briggs. Nikki Carter. Stephanie Castle. Davy Ferry. David, is it Huff? David Huff. Angeline Huff. Kathy Radeski. Oh, please stay standing after we call your name. I'm sorry. I'm really off today. Thank you. Joseph Martin. Joanna Ness. Phil Packwood. Susan Packwood. Elaine Prue. Mark Ryder. Vanessa Rhodes. Robert Rhodes. Daniel Tibbs. Walter Valenzuela. Amy Waterman, and Ben Whittle. Now let's give them some more love. We love you.
Thank you for watching this message today. I'd like to invite you to join us in person here on campus at Unity of Houston for Sunday morning or Wednesday evening services. If you can't be with us here on our campus, you can still join us live on Facebook or on our website, unityhouston.org, Sunday mornings at 11 a.m. Central.